So for this part of the problem, we are told that we basically have these two limitations because building codes require that depth tread has to be at least 9 inches, so larger than or equal to, and height has to be, riser height has to be at least 5, so larger than or equal to 5. And we want to find the inequality that expresses the entire set of possible values for riser height that meet these conditions. So B is a little bit tempting because you see that, oh, okay, well, H has to be larger than or equal to 5, but don't be so hasty. We have this relationship, right? We're given that 2H plus D is equal to 25. So with this relationship, we're told that basically D and H depend on one another a little bit. So you can't simply say that H has to be larger than or equal to 5 because it's in a relationship with D. So what if we did this? What if we subtracted 2H on both sides? Because we already know one sort of limitation of H, right? But what if we subtracted 2H on both sides? So we get that D is equal to 25 minus 2H. Why is this interesting to us? Well, if D is equal to this, and we know that D has to be larger than or equal to 9 inches, that means this has to be larger than or equal to 9, right? So why don't we set up that inequality and solve? So 25 minus 2H has to be larger than or equal to 9. From here, let's solve for H. So minus 25 on both sides. So we have negative 2H is larger than or equal to, what is that, negative 16. From here, to isolate H, we want to divide both sides by negative 2, right? And don't forget that in an inequality, when you multiply or divide by a negative, you want to switch the sign. So it's H is less than or equal to negative 16 over negative 2, 8. So through the sort of limitation on D, we found our other limitation on H, right? So now, as it turns out, H has to be larger than or equal to 5, but less than or equal to 8. So we can express that as H having to be larger than or equal to, oh, I wrote that the wrong way, oops. So H has to be smaller than or equal to 8, but larger than or equal to 5. And so all your possibilities for H are between 5 and 8, and that's C. So again, we arrived at this because we have one limitation explicitly written, but because H depends on D, right, and D depends on H, since we have a limitation on the other, we needed to figure out what that would look like. So this is the limitation on H, and this is the other limitation on H because of the limitation on D, as we just established, because that means this has to be larger than or equal to 9. So C is our answer.